guys, it's Ishani, aka Total Makeup Junkie 101. So today I'm going to be doing the perfect palette tag video. I know this tag had been going around like 2 months ago, so I'm really behind on it, but I still wanted to do it just because it is a really fun video to do, and I've been watching a ton of other people's tag videos like this. The reason I was super interested in this tag video is because palettes are some of my favorite makeup items. When a new eyeshadow palette or a full face palette or just any new makeup palette comes out, I'm always intrigued by it most of the time. It's really rare that I pass up a palette unless it's something that I know I won't use. So in this video, I'm going to be going through 8 different palettes and telling you guys which ones are like the most versatile, the ones I love the most, all of that good stuff. So without further ado, let's get right into the tag video. So the first question is best packaging. And in my head, best packaging can go as a lot of different things. To some people, best means like most useful, to others best means like the cutest packaging. So in my head, I took best packaging as the cutest packaging, or the palette that I think is like just beautiful, not necessarily, you know, really versatile or not necessarily very useful as a palette, but just more so it's beautiful. And it is the Urban Decay Hearts NYC palette. This was a limited edition palette a couple years back, and Urban Decay did release it for a holiday collection, I believe. And the main reason why I put this as best packaging palette is because this top part actually flips up, and you have a mirror here, but you have this super beautiful pop-up scene of like New York City. And you have like a taxi cab, you have the Statue of Liberty, you have the Empire State Building, you have different people, you just have everything, and it's so beautiful. And it also has lights here in the background, if you can see. So it does light up, which I think is so cute. I just love the little pop-up scene. And then down here at the bottom are your eyeshadows. You have 16 eyeshadows, 2 mini liners, and this had a mini Urban Decay primer potion, which I already used that up. But I think the palette is really big and chunky and clunky. It's not travel friendly, it's nothing like that, but I just love this little pop-up. I think this is so cute. All right, the next one is best color payoff. And I would have to say my best color payoff palette is the Too Faced Pretty Rebel palette. Now this was released pretty recently. It was also limited edition, but you may still be able to find it at a couple retailers. But this one has 10 different eyeshadows in it, and it's got a beautiful array of like some nice neutral colors in here, and then you have some smoky colors and some pretty like bright colors like a pink and like a royal blue. The reason I find this palette to have the best color payoff is because most of these shades are kind of metallic or sort of frosty, and I find that those shades generally have better color payoff to begin with. So the fact that all 10 of these shades, for the most part, other than like these two up here, these two are matte, but all the other ones are shimmery or metallic, and they are so pigmented, so smooth, so buttery, and they just glide onto the skin. The next palette is most versatile, and when I chose my palette for most versatile, I decided to go with something that I thought you can do an array of different looks, whether it be a really neutral everyday look or a really bright out there smoky look, or just a really colorful look. So the palette I decided to go with is the Urban Decay Vice palette. This is the original Vice palette that came out last Christmas. And the reason I found this one to be my most versatile palette is because, as you can see by the color range offered here, you are getting lots and lots of neutrals, especially like, oh gosh, I can't hold this. So as you can see, this top row and then this very bottom row here, you're getting a whole bunch of neutral colors. And then the middle 2 rows, you're getting a lot of fun, bright colors like some teal, purple, pink, blue, green. You're also getting a nice black over here to smoke any look out. So you're getting a lot of nice variety in here. I find you can make a really simple everyday look, or you can do a bright fun look. So I would say this would be my most versatile palette. Okay, the next palette is best for traveling, and this one is going to be no shocker, no surprise to anybody, because anybody who's ever done this video, I'm pretty sure, has put this palette as one of the categories, if not multiple categories. But I would say my best for travel palette is the original Urban Decay Naked palette. You guys have seen it a million times, but here it is for the millionth and one time. It's just got a nice variety of neutral shadows. You're not getting a lot of matte colors in this palette, but I find I can do pretty much any neutral look just using these colors. You're getting some nice lighter colors and nice deeper colors and just a good variety in the middle. I just love this palette. It's a great travel palette. The next palette is my biggest regret, and while I have a lot of palettes, I found that I don't regret a lot of them just because pretty much any palette that I buy, I do a lot of research on it before I purchase it. Or if I don't do enough research and it turns out it's not really what I wanted it to be, I will kind of tweak it and find a way to use it. So oftentimes I don't regret palette purchases, but this one is a pretty big disappointment in my head, and it is the Coastal Scents Creative Me #1 palette. And I purchased this thinking that I needed these shades in my life, these crazy bright matte eyeshadows. I felt like I needed them, and I really don't. For the most part, I don't reach for this palette because even when I do use some of these colors, I more often than not use them one at a time. So I'll kind of just like maybe use this purple to smoke out my lower lash line just to add a pop of color. But I just find it inconvenient to have to pull out an entire palette just to reach for that one purple, you know? So this would probably be my biggest regret. Okay, the next category is best color names. And I have to say, this is a new palette that just came out, and I feel like a lot of people have mentioned this palette for this particular category, and I totally understand why. This is Too Faced A Few of My Favorite Things palette that just came out for this holiday season, and oh my goodness, this is the cutest palette I think I've ever seen. It's got this top layer of shadows and then this bottom layer of 2 blushes and 2 bronzers. And I bought this palette not just for the names. I thought it was a great palette overall, but the names are adorable. If you guys know of the song A Few of My Favorite Things, like they have one of these blushes is Raindrops on Roses, and then there's Melt into Spring, and then you have Cream Colored Ponies. You just have a lot, like Moon on Their Wings, Blue Satin Sheets. You just have a lot of really, really cute color names, and I love creative things like this. The next category is least used. And this is different from my biggest regret. Initially, when I saw least used and biggest regret as being 2 different categories, I thought, generally, wouldn't your least used palette be your biggest regret? But in my head, it totally is not. My least used palette is TheBalm, the Muppet Show palette. It says Cast Your Shadow Face palette. And I got this, oh gosh, it was at least 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. And this is when that Muppets movie came out. And TheBalm actually teamed up with the Muppets and released only 1,000 of these palettes. And they were selling so quickly, they kind of staggered the release dates on this palette to kind of help everybody get their hands on one. But because they only made 1,000 of them, they're pretty rare to find. And you can see at the bottom on the back, each palette is handwritten the number out of 1,000. So mine is 660 out of 1,000. So to me, that just makes it even more special, and I keep it in the sleeve. Most of my palettes I throw away the packaging, but this one in particular I do keep it in the sleeve because the sleeve is also numbered at the bottom. And I actually have not used this palette at all, mainly because I look at it as a collector's item. I know the quality of the products is great. I know the quality of the shadows is all amazing, and also they have some lip and cheek stains here at the bottom. You can see I haven't even touched it, only because in my mind it is such a collector's piece because they only made 1,000 of them and I happen to own one. So I try to keep this in like pristine condition. And the last category is your most used, most loved desert island palette. And I just wrapped all 3 of those into one simple palette, and that is my LORAC Pro palette. This is my most used, most loved, the palette that if all my palettes had to be taken away from my collection, this is the one that I would keep, hands down. This is the first one I would repurchase if all my makeup was gone. I love it that stinking much. It is amazing. You have 16 eyeshadows. Had to count that really quick. You get 16 eyeshadows. The top row is all mattes. The bottom row is all shimmers. And I absolutely love this palette. Beautiful array from like the whitest of white shadow to the black. And you get a nice dark brown. And you can just see by like my dip marks in some of these shadows. I have used most of them quite a bit. I love this palette. It is a great palette. I recommend it over the Naked palettes. When people ask me, oh, should I get Naked 1, 2, or 3? I always tell them, get LORAC Pro because it's so much better. So that is it. That is my perfect palette tag video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have made one of these perfect palette tags, because like I said, I know I'm late on it, please let me know and like tweet it to me or Instagram it to me or something, because I know you can't do video responses anymore, which I think is really dumb. But anyways, get it to me somehow. My Twitter and my Facebook page and my Instagram name are always in the description box down below, so don't forget to follow me on all 3 of those social medias, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon. Bye!